All right. I wanted to start with just a minute of grounding. Probably all come from a long day. Aaliyah, thank you for joining us so late in the evening. I just put that two and two together. um, yeah, we've all coming from whatever space and place, and let's go and just take a minute to ground into this new collective space. All right, thank you guys so much. Um, okay, we'll go ahead and just jump in. Thank you again so much, Aaliyah, for coming by, and Elisa. So my name is David, and this is workshop is on behalf of Rise, which is a nonprofit that Elisa and I helped start up with a couple of friends. And Rise stands for Reimagining Inclusive Self-Empowerment. And so we're just really trying to share the resources that have helped us in our self-care journeys and try to spread the words about these. Um, I am a poet, a new poet, I guess. I wrote the first poem about 3 years ago, and it completely changed my life. It was really more like a spiritual awakening for me. I quit my job a year later, um, traveled the world, and did a bunch of writing, and it's led me now to become a death doula, and I work with men in prison um, as well, and hoping to start my own arts program soon. So poetry is definitely poetry and writing has definitely been something very special to me, and I wouldn't be who I am today without it. Um, yeah, and Elisa, if you would like to jump in.
Yeah, my name's Elisa. Like David said, I'm part of the founders group for Rise. And like you said, it was just very important for us. We all come from different backgrounds and now all have like our own separate, I guess, like share of either traumas or things that we're trying to conquer and figuring out a way to be resilient. And so that was one of the biggest reasons why I chose to be a part of such a big project. A little bit about my background. I work for a nonprofit and I do marketing. But a large part of the reason or that I am an advocate is because I struggle with my own types of chronic illnesses. I have three different illnesses, one that affects my muscles, one that affects my joints, one that affects my tissues. And so I've been diagnosed since I was 11 and I still get infusions to this day. And so it's just, yeah, finding different ways for us to heal and do things. And so this has been a big part of my healing. And it's nice to be able to share our self-care tips and other things that we figured out. But yeah, that's me.
Awesome, thank you so much, Elisa. Um, Aaliyah, would you like to share anything about your own history or experience with creativity or writing in general, or artistic expression?
I'm a COVID writer. I just started writing during COVID. I've enjoyed it. That's pretty much my creative. The rest I just work. I'm not pretty active. I like to run.
Okay, awesome. Love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, so what this workshop is around is how we can use poetry to leverage it, to use it to listen to our environment and to try to see what our environment is telling us. And something that I've learned through my writing is that the environments are always speaking to us. It's just more of a question of whether we're willing to listen to it or not, or still enough to listen to it or not. And to me, that really just means listening to anything outside of us. It can really be anything. For me, it's been a rose, it's been my cat, it's been a pen. And so I wanted to kind of go into this idea a little bit and have a little interaction exercise. You guys know, like, when you're driving and you're looking for an address, when you're looking for the address, I don't know about you guys, but I always instinctively turn down the music. Do you guys ever do that? And so for me, I've noticed it helps me focus. Like once I'm looking for where I'm trying to go, I need to turn down the noise so that I can focus and find it. And so a lot of times I found that translates just to our life path and journey in general. If we want to hone in and focus on where we're going, we have to turn down the noise. And so for me, what I want to do is take 5 minutes to scan our environment. You can get up and walk around anywhere where you are, and just scan the room to see if there's a specific object that is calling out to you. It can be a napkin, it can be a cup, it can be coffee, whatever it is. And so I want to invite you to take 5 minutes. Again, you can turn your camera off, you can roam around and just see if there's something in your home, in your surroundings, that's calling to you. And if you feel called, you can even, if you're not sure, you can like put your hand on the item and ask it, like, do you want to hang out with me right now? And see what it says. I know it's a little wooey, but I really want to kind of hone in on what listening to our environment can be like. Does that sound good? All right, so I'll set a timer for 5 minutes to head around your environment, and we'll see what happens. I'll start the timer now. You've got about 1 minute left, but if you need some more time, feel free to take it. Feel free to come back on whenever you're ready. Can you hear us, Aaliyah? Maybe she needs some more time. Did you find something, Elisa?
I feel like I didn't get it. I didn't find something specific, but I felt like I chose my whole house in the sense of like I literally just I had therapy today and I've been super anxious because like my life has been so chaotic and like busy that I just have like piles of things everywhere. And so I feel like that's been something that's been like calling out to me and really heavy. And so I why I chose my house because I feel like my house was like, hey, I need attention.
All of me. Wow, I love that.
Mm.
Mm. I'm assuming Aaliyah's still looking, unless if Aaliyah, if you're on. Oh, I was like, if you're gonna keep your video off, just let me know that if you're here. Did you find something?
Yes, I found a ball.
A ball? What
Yes,
kind of ball?
just a ball. What exactly are we supposed to do?
I'm sorry?
We're supposed to find out a, what item for what reason?
We're going to do a writing exercise with it now, but the intention first was to just find an item and see what speaks to us. Um, yeah, and if you want to grab what you held, or I guess if Elisa's case, if it's metaphorical, for me, what called out to me was a picture of me and my dad. It's a little blurry. Yeah, it's the first thing that came out to me. And so I just want you for a second, just like to hold it and to hold it in your hands or in your mind, and Just like take a second to breathe with it and see if it has any downloads for you. And then what we're going to do is the poem we're going to write will be from the perspective of this item. Does that make sense? So I guess, Elisa, you'll be writing a perspective from your house.
Yeah, and Aaliyah, if now that you have some context too, feel free to choose something else. You feel like something else is calling to you now that you're aware of, I guess, what we're gonna do with it, you know?
Yeah. Sorry, I guess I could have gave that insight before, but would you like time to find something different, or are you happy with the ball?
No, I'm happy with the ball.
Love it. Okay, sounds good. So I'm gonna share a poem first about the last time I did this. But before that, I want to give you the prompt about what the poem that I'm going to ask you guys to write. And I also want to put a disclaimer out there that, at least with poetry, in my philosophy and my beliefs about it, we're all poets as long as we are able to, as long as we're willing to express truth and vulnerability and authenticity. I think it's the act of doing that makes it into poetry. And so with poetry, there's no rules. You know, you can rhyme, you don't have to rhyme. It could be a haiku, whatever calls out to you. So while I share this poem, I want you to think about your item. Think about, and I'm going to give you a lot of questions here to keep it open-ended. You don't have to write about all of this. It's just to get your mind going. So think about what the item's daily experience is like, whether it changes from an hour to hourly experience, or is it a monthly experience, a yearly experience? How often is this item engaged with, whether by you or nature or whatever else? What lessons is this item learning? And what wisdom has this item collected? You know, what is this item good at? If it's a master at something, what is its domain of mastery? What has this item done for you? And think of your object, look at it, hold it with love, and then just gently ask it, what message do you have for me? Sound good? Okay, and so I will share this poem. And this is called, it's a little personal, but this one's called Pipe Dream. I don't know if I've shared this one with you, Elisa, or not. Okay, you ready? I wonder if he meant it when he said this would be the last time. I swear he said this 100 times. He's thrown away so many friends of mine. Will I go in the trash too? I can be helpful if only he knew. I don't have to be his demise, but maybe it's my fault he can't look himself in his eyes. He takes me everywhere he goes. He loves how I smell when he brings me up to his nose. He grabs the lighter and then sets me on fire. He inhales the earth through my bowl. He smokes like smoking will save his soul. He always takes me on the road to smoke. God forbid he go anywhere without sneaking a toke. You know, at least he has good taste in music. But if he skips another song, I'll fucking lose it. He wraps me in a Ziploc and hides me in a jacket. He stuffs it in the trunk so nobody will smell it. I think going to work high is a decade-long habit. I do love how much time he spends with me. But I can feel his guilt when he compulsively fills me. He doesn't come to me with gratitude. He comes to me to shift his attitude. He hates his job and he hates his life. He is as loyal to me as if I were his wife. I wonder if he blames me for being so unhappy with his life. Oh shit, here he goes again, getting high as a kite. I wonder where he would be without me. He's the worst pothead I've ever seen. He couldn't roll with papers even if he tried. I want so badly for him to see himself through my eyes. I tell him I love him and I'll always be there, but it kills me when I see him coughing for air. We're supposed to be having fun, but it's never fun having fun when he always needs fun. I hate feeling like his emptiness is my cross to bear. It's his own fault he never fucking cares. You know, maybe it's for the best that he throws me away. As much as it would kill me to never see another haze, after all, I am a glass bowl that was made to smoke. But I can't stand the sight of seeing him choke on life, on love, on compassion for himself. He has so much love for the world, but he doesn't have an ounce for himself. I wish he knew he doesn't need me to be himself. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. That was really beautiful.
Thank you. All right. So let's take 15 minutes. And my trick when I write poetry, I write the first line that comes to my mind and I do not let myself edit it. I don't judge it. I don't try to make it something it's not. What art is to me, it's when you surrender and you let go of the ego, you turn down the noise and you just let the art speak through you. All right. So take 15 minutes. I think it's better to write with paper. If you want to write on your phone or computer, you can. But we'll leave it there. You guys have any questions? Sound good? All right. I'll go ahead and start a timer, and you can feel free to turn off
Hey, Carrie, if you would like to join us, we found something around the house or around you that you are connecting to, and we are doing a writing kind of little prompt of whatever you connected to. Mine was my house and the endless piles of things that make me anxious. And David told us to write a short poem about this thing and how you connect to it, but like kind of like in the perspective of the daily life of whatever it is that you connect to.
Thanks, Elisa. And Carrie, if you respond, you were on mute. Sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, it took me a minute to find the button to to unmute, but thank you, Elisa. I'm on it.
And we have about 2 minutes left, unless you guys need more time. All right, it's about 15 minutes. If you're ready, come back on. I guess if you need more time, feel free to take another couple of minutes if you need it. Give like 2 more minutes. All right, we're going to get started. I know Carrie joined us late. How was that for you, Aaliyah and Elisa?
It's okay.
Awesome.
Same. It was good. It was different. I feel like I don't do this often, so I feel like it would take me like a good 5 minutes to like get in there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I guess kind of what worked for me was like I just started like jotting down like words or things that came to my mind and then hoped that it would go somewhere from there.
Nice. Was that a similar experience to you, Aaliyah? For me, it was a little hard. It took. I ended up having a short poem, but would either of you? You don't have to if you don't want to, but I wanted to open the floor. If either of you would like to share what you wrote, I can start by sharing mine. Hi, Carrie. Carrie, were you able to write something in like the 4 minutes you had? You're on mute.
Okay, sorry. I was like, I'm not clicking in the right place. I wrote some things. I don't know if it flows or if it, because it was like very, very rushed. So I feel like there's like something here, but it probably needs to be, reworked and kind of polished up.
Okay, sounds good. Would you guys like to hear what I wrote? I just want to be like open that door in case either of you would like to share. Okay, so let me unblur real quick so I can show you the picture. But this is the picture I wrote of with me and my dad. All right, and so I wrote his. The picture of my dad still holds me like his hand. In the picture with my dad, I'm still looking for that man. The man he always was before he never was, before he always was again. I'm trying to remember the childlike love, the love that loves without judgment, the love that only knows how to love before the boy became a man while my dad was still a boy. He's been stunted ever since he was stuck. I outgrew him before knowing who he was. Thank you. And if it's voluntary, but I do want to leave the space open if any of you would like to.
Remain balanced under barbell's tension. Round and light blue, who needs a bench when I have you? I assimilate to its dimensions and lay flat. Taunt with snap and bounce back, station amidst heavy steel stacks. Its peculiar circular apex, I sit atop and try not to fall. Knee-high footy wobbly orb presents an uneven and unsteady challenge. Shake under load when executing, stay nimble while flexing resolutely. Try to resist ensuing urge to quit whilst enduring the tense pressure and aim to be bilaterally stronger. And I wrote about an
About a what? I'm sorry.
exercise ball.
I love that.
Was a poem. Thank you so much. That was beautiful.
I did not know we had another undercover poet in the room. That was really good.
That was very good.
I feel like mine doesn't. I don't think mine rhymes, but it's there. It's there.
Doesn't have to rhyme.
Mine was about my home. I am I may or may not have hoarder tendencies like my mom, but it's not that serious. I'm really bad at making piles and saying I'm going to get to them, and they don't happen. And I'm really bad at donating things that I should donate. So I feel like my house gets the brunt of it. So what I wrote was, I'm home feeling like a thrift shop full of treasures, finding joy in the knickknack, anxiety in the endless inventory, donating what no longer serves you. I'm overflowing, unorganized. I have no space for things, but hold all the space for you to thrive, to embrace the safety and security I have to offer. I strive for you to call this house a home, to take pride in the home you've created. And that's all I have.
Wow. Speaking of poets, that was so good. Anxiety in the endless inventory. I think that can describe America right now. Thank you. Carrie, I know you didn't have a lot of time. Would you like to share what you wrote, or you'd rather just finish it up on?
I'll share it, but hold on, I have a visual aid for my because I didn't have a lot of time, as you know, but right as soon as I'm like, okay, let me find an object to connect with, this little one started crying. Look at her, look at her. So I wrote it about the kitten.
Wow.
She's like, I can literally hold her in one hand. You guys, she's so tiny. Look at her. Okay. So I had to show my my muse.
I would tell. Thank you.
So like I said, I don't. This definitely needs. Oh, you guys, she stepped on it on the keyboard and added some space bars. Okay, all right.
She had
You
to add
have
a
to go
line.
down for just a minute.
She had to add a line to the poem.
So this needs some work, but like I said, I feel like there could be something here that if I go back to it, I could, work on something. So, okay. Kitten, so small, growing so fast, crying out, tiny paws, curious, learning so fast. Then we got distracted, so the tone does change here, but we got distracted because my other cat came in. Jealousy from my adult cat. She looked betrayed, standing in the doorway, glaring at me, walking away offended. And that was all I had time for.
A lot of tension in that poem.
But I was like onto something with like the kitten and growth and her, because we have a lot of kittens and they are growing up so fast and they get big so fast, and I was like, oh, I'm onto something here. And then like I said, then I looked up and my adult cat was like glaring at me, and so but I really enjoyed listening to your guys' writing and performing, sharing. Thank you.
These were some incredible pieces, and I just love how there's so much creativity from things like a ball, from like an entire house, a cat, from a picture. Yeah, and so Carrie, what I touched on a little bit before you came in, before we wrote, is the intention behind this exercise was to just get more in tune with what our environment is trying to tell us. That our environment and the world in general is constantly speaking to us. It's a question of whether we're listening or not. And I think a lot of, I think at least when I used to experience a lot of anxiety and depression, a lot of it was because I was so hell bent on not listening to what was trying to be communicated to me. And yeah, that's all I have for you guys. Guess we ended a few minutes early. If any of you have any questions or final comments. Otherwise, thanks so much for joining us, Aaliyah. It was a pleasure having this space with you.
Kitty's here.
Bye, kitty.
I will say, I think, that, like I said, I didn't get to participate in the whole thing, and I wish I had. I had another meeting. But I will say that does really track for me, with just listening, because I was like looking around, surveying the room, and then the thing that really got my attention, of course, was somebody crying out for help. So, yeah.
I do have a question because I feel like this did help kind of, I mean, just as much as therapy does, but like, I don't know, help me relieve my like own kind of like tension or whatever that I was feeling about the house. Because I feel like now like I'm listening to the house like after I wrote it in like the perspective of my house,
Mm-hmm.
which I should call a home, but I call it a house because I'm so anxious all the time and it doesn't feel like a home. Sorry, casita. What I was gonna ask is like I really liked that you gave us that prompt like right in that perspective, and so I was just gonna ask like what are other good prompts that you would like, I don't know, recommend so that way like I don't know, me or Aaliyah can maybe practice in like either our daily life, or if we wanted to write more or journal more, like what would you recommend?
Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, that's a wonderful question. First off, I want to acknowledge what you said about writing the poem helped alleviate the anxiety. And I think what I believe is that's because our anxiety, our emotions, whatever it is, it doesn't always want to be fixed. Sometimes it just wants to be acknowledged and heard. And I think the anxiety only increases when we refuse to acknowledge it. And so, it's hard for me to sit with my emotions outside of a poem. That's why the poem's so much easier for me. But as far as your question goes, yeah, this could be helpful or intentional. Sometimes if you do it outside, if you go for like a walk or if you sit outside and you just wait to see like what outside of your environment is calling to you, you don't even have to write on it. You can just go to it and just meditate, just like look at it for 2 minutes. One time I was looking like on a bud of a flower and I just looked at the whole vine like a few minutes, and then I saw how the vines were intertwined with like the other branches of the other tree, and I was like, man, this vine is just hugging everything it can. Like that's so beautiful, I like doing that. Otherwise, there's a simple exercise you can do, because I like to try to like get out of my head and have something prompt me. And what I like doing, as both of you and Elisa and Carrie know, I love turning to books, whether it's like a book of wisdom or a Bible or a book very near and dear to you, or it can be a random book at a bookstore. But I like to take a couple of breaths before turning to a page, and I flip to a random page with my non-dominant hand. I'm right-handed, so I'm gonna use my left hand, and I'll just flip through. And similar to how you're listening to the ball, listening to the house, listen to the book and wait to see what page of the book wants to talk to you. And then you open it up to it, and wherever your eyes land, I'd say 8, 9 out of 10 times, it's typically something that is very relevant to you in that moment. And so I would invite you can use something from what you read as a launching line in your poem. You can just journal about what you read and how it applies to you. But otherwise, my biggest shortcut for writing is just to honor the first thought that comes up. I think that's the practice of letting go. A lot of the times we have to self-edit, and we want to make sure that we try to strategize it being good instead of realizing that honesty is what makes anything good. And so just letting your honesty breathe.
Thank you for that. Another thing that did help me too when we first started writing was like when you said don't alter whatever the first sentence is that you wrote. I thought that was really cool because it like allowed me to kind of stay on track, because I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like the first thing that came to my mind is probably the most relevant since it was like quick,
Yes. The subconscious is always at work.
Yeah.
Would you like me to close out with a similar style poem of something else I witnessed in my environment?
Sure.
This one I wrote when I was journaling outside one day with my cat. I used to journal outside every day. And then one day when I was writing and then I needed a quick break, I looked up. And the second I looked up, I saw this rose from a rosebud in the backyard. A petal just fell to the ground immediately. And I was like, oh shit. And I used that for my inspiration. It's been one of my most impactful poems. So here it is. I was looking at a rose in my backyard. And in that moment, a petal fell to the ground. It drifted so elegantly without a sound, it made me wonder, does a petal know when it falls from the flower? Does it count the days until its last hour? Does a rose feel part of its beauty die? Do the thorns celebrate, or do they cry? Maybe they exist to balance out the beauty. protecting the growth, its sole duty. Thorns are in a rose when just a seed. The pain there from the start, a reminder will bleed. Before reaching for a rose, we pause to find a clear space. The fear of pain fills us with intentions of grace. How else will we see a rose in all of its glory? A reminder to stop before assuming the entire story. I once thought thorns were a symbol of pain. How could something so beautiful have so many stains? Will a flower still be a flower if it never rains? You know, I think the flower weeps when a petal falls. Its roots tremble and pain roars within its walls, a part of its beauty fading slowly into the dirt. The missing petal forever a space for hurt. You know, I think all along the thorns were just playing coy. They exist to bring us pockets of joy. I wonder if we've been looking at pain all wrong. Maybe tears are the reason we bloom all along. I'm learning the difference between love and loss. One's deeper than the other, but they come at the same cost. To open your heart is to allow it to bleed. To let it get bruised, yet still trust it to lead. You are on the path to becoming who you are. You will find you no matter how hard. Listen to your silence and all you cannot bear. Lean into your shame and find your stare, gazing at what you'll become. You are all of you, even when you're undone. Unravel into perfection and see how 2 equals 1. Thank you, guys.
Oh, thank you. That was beautiful.
Yes.
Kira's over there with her cat. Just love it up. Oh, this is beautiful, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Aaliyah, for coming. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Elisa. And thank you,
you for hosting.
Fab Outtaker.
Have a good night.
All right, everyone. Have such a good evening.
Bye.
See you.
Thank
Bye. It was
you.
good seeing you, Aaliyah.